Sorry.
The lateral ventricle.
Yeah, it's a lateral ventricle.
Where do you see that?
This whole thing
Oh, okay.
is a lateral ventricle. Now, what is this part of it over here?
The interior.
Yeah, the anterior horn.
The lateral
This is of a right lateral ventricle. This is the right lateral view over here. And what is right over there? And what are the two things that this represents?
It's the poles of the
Pole of the anterior
interior.
horn.
Yeah, the pole of the anterior horn of the right lateral ventricle. And what's the other thing it represents?
It's like
The
the whole.
anterior pole of the whole ventricle.
That's right, the anterior pole of the whole
It's like a
ventricle.
play on words.
Okay, so now what is this? Yeah, the posterior horn of the right lateral ventricle. And then what do we have here? Mention both things. Yeah, the posterior pole of the whole ventricle, and then also,
Pole of
that's
the
right, the
posterior
pole
horn.
of the posterior horn. It's both the pole of the posterior horn of this lateral ventricle and also the posterior pole of the whole ventricle. Now, what's this?
The inferior horn.
That's right, the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. And then what do we have right there?
The heck is that? What are you pointing at here?
Inferior pole.
Yeah, the inferior pole of the whole ventricle, and what else? What is its other relationship?
The pole of the inferior horn.
That's right, the pole of the inferior horn. Okay. Now, I don't know how you're going to see this from a distance. I think you should be close to this. What is this solid donut-shaped area right over here? The third ventricle. And what was present in life where there's a hole in the donut? That's right, the massa intermedia. That's the massa intermedia. I'll just have to free this without damaging something. Okay. So now, what is found right over here?
Where? Can you?
Right here. What kept the rubber from going any further forward right over there?
Epi.
No.
I can't
Correct.
say
The lamina terminalis is correct.
Uh,
The epithalamus has to be somewhere else. It can't be over here.
I thought you were pointing up higher.
No. Now, look down. And then what prevented the rubber from going lower over here? The hypothalamus.
Where?
Underneath.
I need to zoom out. Hold on.
The hypothalamus.
Can you turn it at
You
this
gotta stand
angle?
right here, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's it, right?
Yeah, the whole.
Here,
underneath.
here.
Oh, okay.
It's the bottom of the area that, it's the bottom area of the third ventricle. Now look at these two downward projections. What is the more anterior one?
Optic.
Supraoptic.
Yeah, you can use either synonym, the supraoptic recess or the chiasmatic recess. And what would be directly below it right over here? The optic chiasma. Not present, but the supraoptic recess touches the top of the optic chiasma. And then what's the more posterior one of the downward projection? The infundibular recess. And a lot of the pituitary gland is suspended from that right over there. Okay. Now, this is an artifact that I just described in the presentation. This got distended. It doesn't have a cavity in it in life, but it ballooned outward when the latex was pumped in. What does that represent? Yeah, this is the end, what's at the end of the pineal stalk, which is the pineal body. So this is you could say this is a distended pineal body. The pineal stalk is the place where the pineal body is connected to the rest of the epithalamus. Keep in mind that the pineal body is part of the epithalamus. Okay. Now, I don't think that people can see this, especially if you're not looking at it, so you should actually get closer so that you can see this. Now, what is this?
Are you pointing at there?
I don't think we labeled that.
Yes, I did.
There's cerebral aqueduct.
The cerebral aqueduct,
Oh, okay.
Where is that?
right here.
Oh, that whole
Oh.
thing
The cerebral aqueduct. A little distended at its actual diameter is less than that, but if you pump rubber under pressure into a soft structure, you're going to get some distension. It's not too bad, though. Now, what is this whole region over here? That's right, the fourth ventricle. What is at the very tip of that right there?
Oh, the fourth ventricle? The tip of the fourth ventricle?
This is median sagittal. Say again? No, look at the illustration. You'll see something sticking off up here.
The foramen of Magendie.
Yeah, the foramen of or foramen of Magendie. They're right there.
Where's right there?
Yes, the very tip of that. Now, what is this projection over here?
Foramen Luschka?
At the very tip of this is the foramen of Luschka, and then what is the whole thing?
Oh,
The lateral,
the lateral foramen.
the lateral fourth ventricular recess.
Where's the Lushka?
At the very distal end of the lateral fourth ventricular recess, in life there was a hole, and that is the foramen. That is a foramen of Luschka, because there's two of them, a left one and a right one.
Can you point to that again?
Yeah, this projection is a lateral fourth ventricular recess,
Okay, and at the
and at
tip
the very
is
apex of that, or the distal end of
the
it,
foramen of Luschka.
is where you find the foramen of Luschka. And then what extended downward from here but is not present? The central canal is correct.
Can you show them the foramen of Lushka?
Yeah, here is the lateral fourth ventricular. Here's a lateral fourth ventricular recess, and at the very apex of that is where you find the foramen of Luschka on each side, also called the lateral fourth ventricular foramen. Okay, now on this illustration, and you have to be close to see this because you have to be looking this way to see these. Represented in pink, there were vascular masses inside these two ventricles. What might those be? Just the ones in these ventricles. Yeah, these are lateral choroid plexi. Not chordate, but choroid. Lateral choroid plexi, one in each lateral ventricle. So they represented them, roof of the third ventricle, we see more pink. What does that represent?
The roof of where?
The roof of the third ventricle.
Okay.
An anterior choroid plexus. So there's two lateral choroid plexi, one in each lateral ventricle. There's a left lateral choroid plexus and a right one. There's only one choroid plexus associated with the third ventricle. There's only one third ventricle. It's not bilateral. It's called the anterior choroid plexus. That's the choroid plexus of the third ventricle. And then notice the pink inside the fourth ventricle. What is that? The posterior choroid plexus. Okay, and that's where the choroid plexi produce the CSF.
Can you show that? What is that called?
The posterior choroid plexus. So that's the lineup on this.
That's it?
Yes.
All right,